Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Breachers VRML here on the VRML Network channel. I'm joined today by my co-host Nightfire and our analyst Gravix. How are you guys doing so far today?
I'm feeling good. It's a pretty high tier matchup. You know, we're diving into Aesir versus IV this afternoon, and I mean, their records, their past performance in the season, these players' knowledge of the game, it goes deep. I mean, graphics, we can dive more into their overall match history so far this season, but I'm expecting a good one between these two teams today.
Yeah, we got the number 1 and number 2 teams going right at it today. Last time Ivy and Acer matched up, it was an 14 to 8 total. I'm so sorry, with Acer taking that ship 5 to 7 and Hideout 3 to 7. Not sure if we're gonna see either of those maps yet today, but right now Ivy on a dominant win streak against Zero and Gotham Paradise. So gonna be interesting to see if they can keep that up, or if Acer's gonna kind of repeat history with their last match and take out Ivy and stop the win streak.
Yeah, importantly, IV has only played 3 maps so far this season. Factory, Ship, and Hideout, and they've played them to death. Meanwhile, Acer has had a pretty even spread. They've played 2 more matches than IV, but, you know, they've been keeping up score-wise. We'll see how it goes this time. These teams are gearing up, getting ready to start. Everyone is in the lobby. Before we get started, I think what I really want to see from this matchup, I don't know about you guys, is I want to see some great utility. I've been seeing some teams recently not utilizing utility to its fullest potential,
Right.
only really using frags, just kind of slip them through to maybe make people move, or trying to get a kill and then doesn't really do much. I want to see people using utility in a way that it hasn't really been seen too much.
And let's talk about it, because it's going to be done with the clone utility tool that is now involved and enabled in the game. I saw it a little bit already this week with the matchup earlier in the on Wednesday or something like that, but I'm anticipating these two teams to be utilizing that, and if they're not, it's because they're not comfortable yet with the tool, and only time will tell. So we'll see. I mean, our first map ready to go already.
First map looking like it's going to be Skyscraper. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Acer starting on offense. We have IVI on defense. We've seen Acer do very well on Skyscraper so far this season. We haven't really seen IV do too much, and I haven't, honestly, I don't know about you guys, I haven't really seen IV play Skyscraper too much, even in the off-season.
I mean, I think from my perspective, it's a map that gets banned most of the time. You know, I don't feel like a lot of teams just tend to even play Skyscraper in league matches that often.
Skyscraper, a very off-meta choice here, but if Acer picked it, it looks like they're going to be going in with a pretty good advantage over IVNA here. Obviously, we saw it before. IVNA hasn't played Skyscraper at all this season, and Acer, if we take a look at their record, is 3-0 on map wins in Skyscraper. So right now, Acer, based off numbers, has the advantage, but let's see how it goes getting into round number 1.
Gearing up for a bottom floor push on the bathroom. Proxy is in, as well as Sleet, so might get pushed in on by Hotline with EMP along with Doga. See if they can get into the point.
Utility piece already tossed, and what a beautiful bit of usage of that nade to force the rotation. Immediately off of the other frag, Hotline with a wonderful double kill. That's exactly what you were looking for right there, Plague. 2 pieces of utility, 2 kills with the pistol.
Trying to push in through bathroom. Hotline is down on a good bit of health, but they've traded that for 2 kills. Jet is on a very dedicated flank watch over on Acer, but he just barely turns away, misses Uncle Ron rotating through. Now trying to punish the rotate. Tech9 pushing up with Jet, trying to take out the flanker. Meanwhile, Hotline is blowing the wall along with Doga, trying to push up. Leishton James has his back turned to the window. Will Doga peek through just in time to take him out? Backs up a little bit. Leishton James is stuck between the wall and the window, chooses to back up. Very spread out, these IVI players. They're not going to have much recourse if they get pushed in on.
Yeah, and Acer, with everyone super low, comes out on top of this round. Everyone a bullet away from dying. So, a weird thing to say, but I would say hard fought by IV Graphics. I don't know if you agree.
Yep, Acer left on 1 HP. Very, very well fought by both teams, but Acer just able to squeak it out. And I think it was kind of based on what you said earlier, those 2 quick kills from Hotline, using that grenade to force the rotation out from that bathroom hidey hole to get that early advantage in kills. And we saw it again towards the end there. I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but we had an instant at the end, which could have forced a really good rotation again if Ivy was able to clutch up. But obviously didn't work out. Aesir able to get the kills and kind of just keep the steam train rolling from the beginning.
They are looking like they are in good form, at least on their pistol opener. Ivy gonna go with a pretty interesting eco here, Plague. They've not taken much utility, and if they have, it's already been placed on the ground before the start of round 2.
Yeah, and also I want to talk about pistols across the board for Ivy.
Yeah.
They don't have really anything. They're going for a straight save. I'm guessing they're going to be pushing for all SMGs on the next round if they can't pick it up. But Skyscraper is really important to get your economy going. This is important on every map, but especially here on Skyscraper, where it's a bit weighted when it comes to teams. Uncle Ron is caught out. He's going to get pushed in on immediately. Live comm from the drone. Can't take it out. Hotline and Jet are looking to push in and take him out. Throwing in utility, but not actually using it. Jet takes down Uncle Ron with Hotline pushing in with him as well. None of these players down over on Aesir yet. However, they have been discovered to move in on radio. We have 2 players trying to guard over by the points, with Jet trying to get a punish on the roam. Can they get down this hallway? There's not a lot of utility to deny them. However, these Aesir players are having to push in on a very dug-in IVI defense.
Yeah, a little drone work coming in here to assess the scenario of a full health IV squad. Hotline not going to have any health syringes to reinforce their HP. Neither is Doga at half HP. So there's some damaged up players on the Aesir side. Hotline getting a little bit lower as some wall damage or through that doorway damage connects onto them. Just a bullet away. It's still a stronghold set up here for the IV squad. Proxy opens it up with 1 kill. LFT over the top, waiting, and a great bit of teamwork from the duo to scoop up another one. Meanwhile, the rest of Aesir barreling in. Jet only manages to find 1, and they'll get punished.
Well done to IVI picking that up. You know, we were almost talking down on them a little bit with all pistols, but with some well-placed headshots will get them some very good economy. They could all get rifles if they really wanted to.
Steady flow from Aesir. Not going to be the correct push there for that time, but it was a good attempt nevertheless. As you were saying, Plague, the rifles looks like they could be coming out from Ivy, but looking at Eco right now, we do see an SMG still on the board, but the rest of the team does look like they're going to grab rifles and a little bit of utility as well. Speaking of utility, Aesir and their utility still looking pretty good. It looks like they're going to be running a half buy on rifles and SMGs. But that last round, we did see some very good droning, able to peek out some good locations. And we saw in the beginning, Ivy getting pressured immediately with the drone. Aesir, I think they were able to pick that early kill because of the droning that they had going in there. So being able to use that utility, especially with those drones and the information gathering, is a very useful tool on offense. And it looks like we're going to be seeing Tech9 pick up the double drones once again, heading into round number 3.
This is a big buy, Plague, coming in from IV. They are investing a lot of utility into this round because they want to go up 2-1 right here.
Yeah, they want to go up 2-1. It was a good choice to do that save, and also they denied the, utility and economy that comes with winning both pistol round and the round after. However, it's a bit of a gamble. If IV can get this off, they're going to set themselves up very well for future rounds. If Aesir gets it off, they have a pretty good chance of still getting off some rifles, getting off some SMGs, which will still be very recoverable. I just think it's going to come down to who has the better gun skill in this case. Jet taking out Slitzo is a fantastic pickup in the beginning. Proxy thinking about throwing out a nade, but barely thinks about it a little bit further and doesn't. He has an incendiary ready to throw it out. Here's the drone. Here's it coming in. Does try to shoot at the drone. Barely can't get it off. We do have a late flank from Uncle Ron trying to come down the stairs. May take out Doga if he's not careful.
A offensive instant coming in to zone Proxy off of the corner. A nade that zips past them as they tuck in. And Proxy's still here, trying to fend off this 5-player Aesir squad set up to push into the outside of B. Foam goes down onto the wall. And look at this, Kha'Zix getting aggressive, pushing up to the doorway. This could be their demise as they go into the crossfire. Hotline with a quick headshot, scoops up that one, and now Proxy really all that's standing between this squad. They find the first of many that they'll need to scoop up. On the flank, Uncle Ron coming up on the back line, finds Tech9. Can they find more? Yes, there's 2. Can they make it 3? LFT is now trapped between pushing or not.
2v2, and it looks like we do have Ashton James picking up Jet. It's just LFT. Uncle Ron needs to have some patience. He can wait on the back hall. LFT has to get the EMP down to get this off, or he needs to pick up both these players at once. If he just has a little bit of patience on his push in, he could get this off. Ashton James about to get pushed in on. Uncle Ron could get the refrag if they're not careful. Uncle Ron looking to push up, but Ashton James has it down. I do want to take a quick look at that 2K again. Uncle Ron on the flank on stairs, taking out Tech9 quickly, getting the kill on Hotline. Tried to push up a little bit further. Barely couldn't get a third, but those were 2 monumental kills for his team, bringing it from a 4v2 to a 2v2.
Uncle Ron's flank there doing numbers for IVNA, getting that second point there. Getting back to the beginning of the round, I want to touch on a couple of things you guys had mentioned. First of all, weapon recovery. Didn't super see it, obviously, because there were only 2 members of Ivy left up. But if that round went very differently, we could have seen weapons being recovered. If you're new to Breachers, when a player dies, obviously they drop their weapon. It's just like every other video game. At the end of a round, if a team wants to, they can go scavenging for rifles and kind of save money there to go into the next rounds with some good eco. We didn't necessarily see that this time, but could very well see it this time. Want to point out what I just saw, though. First use of the clone projector right now. Uncle Ron throwing one in the corner there for the peak.
Yeah, we do have a clone going down. We did see a clone yesterday, which was used to great effect, actually, on a lean peak over on one of the maps, trying to figure out where these players were. I believe it might have been on Arctic. Clones have been used well, but one thing is they're very expensive, you know, in this meta. $400 is not a lot of cash to just be throwing around. You need to use that really well. And so clones are going to be something where you need to be absolutely sure, or at least pretty sure, that you're going to be getting some use out of it. If someone can identify that it's a clone, then, you know, this scenario, you're not really going to get much out of it other than maybe a little bit of cover.
Here we go, round 4, and so far, I think, I'm surprised. Ivy up in the lead, 2-1, in control of the economy, has a full kit set up to defend against Aesir, who came in so good on their pistol opener, and since then have been having a tough time breaking through the Ivy shell. So we'll see if this off-buy round with SMGs works for them, or if it's going to take a little something extra. As a nice flash in. Push from Doge doesn't end in much, and now the trio, Hotline and Jet, reinforcing for their outside A wall push.
Ready to push in towards A. Slitzo, leashed. Ashton James is ready on the other team. However, Uncle Ron takes out 2 over on the B push. Now it leaves a 5v3. Hotline's down a good bit of health. Doga is down a good bit of health. Jet is also. All of them could be one tap if they get a lucky headshot off over on IVI. Jet looks to play space in, takes out Proxy, gets pretty low for it. Clone projector up on box. There's no flanker, but Kozak takes out Doga and Jet. It's just Hotline against these 4 players.
Nice, great defense from Ivy, and they're locked in right now. Aesir, the powerhouse so far in the regular season, having a tough time breaking through this Ivy wall. And again, when we look back at the history graphics, this is a team that's played against Aesir before and lost pretty handily. I mean, 3-7. This is the most points they've ever scored against Aesir right now. If they get one more point, they'll be setting PRs against Aesir.
Yep, a very dominant look so far this season for Aesir, but Ivy coming back, and we could see it. Possibly. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but we could see Ivy take this map here. They have a pretty good lead heading into the back half of the first half. And I think it's because of the way they've been playing their defense. The way they've been just hankering in onto a site, setting their angles, making sure they have the right peaks, not swinging when they don't need to, and just staying, as soon as they know what site Acer's going for, hunkering down that's the way to go for this Ivy defense. It's been working out. Let's see if Aesir finds a way to, as you said, like crack into that shell, or if Ivy will stay dominant and possibly take the first map here.
Doga is ready to push in. Go ahead.
I love all the cloning we're seeing, Plague. It's a good bit of clone utility coming down, and the first kill already as Jet finds a really tight slice of life and finds Proxy with the headshot. Another push into this bathroom, and Sleetso it's tucked into a grenade that almost catches their full HP, and this is a fast round as they barrel in here. Aesir trying to set the pace.
Aesir attempted to push in, did not see the trips. Luckily, Doga takes almost no damage to those trips, especially on that urinal. That is surprising. Meanwhile, we have a clone that is going to give Kha'Zix a little bit of cover if Hotline tries to push in. Doga takes out Uncle Ron as Uncle Ron takes out Jet. It's Kha'Zix, and it is Ashton James against this 3-stack. Hotline, Doga, and Tech9 trying to push in at the same time. Kha'Zix peeking this on a double. Oh, and Hotline shoots the wrong person. He shoots the clone rather than Kha'Zix, using it to great effect. Kha'Zix now taking down Hotline. It is a 2v2. Health advantage belongs in IVI's court.
You love to see the clone being the MVP in that scenario there. The great use of the cloak, but clone beats cloak, I guess, in a rock, paper, scissors duel. As we do get ready to get into this final minute of round 5. It's a 2v2. Everyone full HP, health syringes on both sides, so if any damage is chipped away, it can be quickly healed back up, and it's going to come down to connecting onto those headshots. And what a late drone coming in here. Man, that must have been picked up off of a dead body or something. I can't imagine they held on to that until now, but a drone in a minute? I don't think I've ever seen that happen, actually.
I believe Tech9 had it on him. I have been talking about with some teams occasionally, you know, smuggling a drone towards the end of the round can be very useful in order to live ping the enemy. If you can get into the point, it allows you to get some really good information late in the round. And now, using that drone, they figured out there were both people on point. They're trying to go for the rotate. They took out one. It's up to Ashton James to defend this. 20 seconds left on the clock. However, Aesir needs to get the EMP down pretty quick if they want to actually get this off. Doga ready to push through, getting the EMP down. Ashton James has an incendiary to try to block off the plant. However, it's being watched pretty carefully by Tech9.
Nice swing from Doga at the end there to scoop up the final kill. The Vezin finding its target. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, Gravis, I'm curious on your opinion, but, you know, especially in this current meta with what we're seeing, the Marui is certainly a prominent pick when the teams have the money for it. And I think maybe on a map like this, there's just, the walls are really important to be able to penetrate.
Yeah, we saw a lot of wall bangs. I want to point out specifically at the end of the round there, a couple of wall bangs pushing that forced rotation, or that false rotation, I should say, over to where they faked out. I think it was Ashton James was the last one left onto that A site while they pushed in to B site. Marui obviously having some ups and downs against the Vezin. I'm pretty sure the damage fall off is a little less right now on the Marui though, so it's a little bit of a give and take depending on like where we're playing in Skyscraper. Very long hallways, very open sites. You're going to want to have that little more of a ranged weapon in the Marui. Want to go back to a little... Oh, go for it.
Yeah, we're about to get into round 6, and Plague, I just hold the thought for graphics for next round, but Plague, I wanted to talk about scoreline right now and how this half is going well for the defense, but it is Skyscraper, right? Don't you typically expect defense to take more rounds? I don't know.
Typically, yes, you do find that defense is going to take a few more rounds rather than the offense. Especially Uncle Ron takes out Jet with some cheeky trips on trying to go on a quick push. But yeah, offense is somewhat rough on Skyscraper, which is somewhat odd. You know, I believe this might have been the map choice from IVI, so I'm surprised Aesir would have chosen offense rather than defense. Maybe they're trying to start on a bad side then end on a good side. I do want to take a quick second to thank Ruby for the $2 super chats with Nightfire, do you like Swiss cheese? And Buffalo Wild Wings date, Nightfire and Plague. Interesting comment there. But getting into this a little bit further.
I don't like cheese, to answer the question. Not a big fan of any cheese, actually. So Swiss, cheddar, just get it off my plate. And my burger. I'm a hamburger guy. I'll eat it on pizza. Don't ask me why. Here comes the push. LFT making their way up with the camo on. Utility coming out as the ensign blocks off the wall. Being pushed.
LFT trying to push in through servers, get some good wall bangs off. Not too much information because the drones were taken down. We do have Tech9 trying to push in. Slitzo takes out Doga on a great window peek. Suddenly, it is a 3v4 favoring IVI on defense. Tech9 trying to push through some great crossfire cover over on IVI. They do get taken down by LFT on a fantastic push. Slitzo and Kazakhstan now is just James against a low-health LFT and Hotline, who takes James down. Suddenly, 3v3, we're going into to switch on a clean slate. Gravix, what do you want to see from this IVI offense?
So, if you recall, back to round 1, Aesir had a very, very dominant pistol offense. I'm thinking we could see the same from Ivy, the way they've been playing, but obviously the game tied up 3-3. We'll have to see what they come out with the utility and how they take the push. I'm going to be very interested to see how Ivy decides to push in today, because we've seen Aesir do the two kinds of pushes, I'd call them. The slow and methodical push, which we just saw that last round or 2 rounds ago, with the hot push, and that seemed to work out very well for them as well. So I'm very curious to see what Ivy's strategy is going to be coming into this offensive round. Looks like they're going all out on utility. They got the foam, they got a bunch of grenades, and a drone round 1. Acer looks like they're going to be a little more conservative with their eco, but everybody on a pistol. Obviously, it's the pistol round. And, yeah, I mean, it's really up in the air on who's going to take this.
And this is the utility I want to see from offense, especially on Skyscraper. Utility is king in this season. Obviously, gunplay is very useful, but utility is where you get a lot of your strategy from.
Yeah, and it's, in a large way, the best way to slow down a team that's feeling into a rhythm, that's getting aggressive, that's playing quick. The static emitters, the audio transmitters, smokes even. The ensigns, all just really good items to buy you seconds, but ultimately, really, in a lot of ways, just interrupt rhythm that these teams settle into. You know, Ivy's trying to find the rhythm right now, and with a pistol opener, that would definitely be a good way for them to start. That's exactly how Acer cracked in to get their foot in the door on the offensive side when they were attacking, and it would certainly be what Ivy want on their offensive side here. And I think we're going to see equal levels of coordination that we saw from Acer from IV this afternoon. Both these teams at 1 and 2 for a reason this regular season. They're familiar with the way of breachers. As the push unfolds, utility comes in, Jet finds the first kill.
Off meta A push, Unkaran pushing in, trying to get into the point, takes out Hotline. Not for LFT, takes out his own teammate before taking out Kazakhs. Unkaran takes out Doga. Now it is just Tech9 and LFT. Tech9 gets taken down by Proxy. A 1v1. LFT is on the opposite side of the building. Has been found out on the flank. Proxy looks to rotate over to the other point to get the plant off. If he can get it off quick, he'll get himself in a good position. But he doesn't quite know where LFT is currently. He knows he's on flank because of the damage from his teammate. Can he figure out where he is now? Looks to maybe stay on the point, blowing the wall. LFT trying to go out into the hallway rather through the point. Will Proxy check the hall or will he check the point? We'll see how this encounter goes. Both them at equal health most of the 2 headshots, maybe 1 headshot away from death.
Here comes a swing onto the corner, and it's LFT. They both hit each other with 1 bullet, and the LFT connects with the second. Both 2 bullets away. I mean, it doesn't get more Wild West draw duel than that end right there. But that is Acer taking the pistol round. Barely, but they take it. So I don't know. The cash from kills, does it really matter? Graphics at the end of the day. It's going to depend on how Ivy buy here.
Yeah, and it looks like just early predictions, we're going to see at least 1 SMG. I think we're going to be looking at a half SMG, half pistol buy from IV. Acer looks like they're going to go for that strategy that I just mentioned. The half SMG, half pistol with 3 of them on Omen and 2 of them on the Spectral. While only 1 on IV has the SMG. Going back to that old Western draw there, kind of takes me back to the good old debate of swinger's advantage versus peeker's advantage. Who really takes the cake there? And obviously, in my opinion, it's on a 50-50 basis. We saw the swing take the win there, but the lineups, it was a literal 50-50 on the quick draw there. a very fiery pistol round from both sides. And Aesir able to just squeak out the win there.
Yeah, and we are getting ready to dive in to round number 8 of this series. Aesir trying to get their foot into the door again and really kind of elevate their lead. LFT front and center gets a little bit of damage done, and now trying to be a real thorn in the side of this push. IV finding a hard time getting to these windows.
Very aggressive push from LFT. He was sitting right below that window. Zitsu takes out Doga. I'd be surprised to not see a climb out from LFT eventually, but he gets taken down by Uncle Ron. That's 2 lives, 2 people already somewhat given up by Aesir on that defense. Now we do have Ashton James and Kha'Zix both trying to rotate down. Hotline gets pushed down, but he does take out Ashton. Tech9 ready on the lobby, but Proxy takes out Tech9. It is a 2v4, but health advantage almost belongs to Aesir because of the amount of health they've taken off of those players on window.
Won't be forever. Slitzo has a syringe, so that'll get used and passed around a little bit, I imagine. But, oof, with Jet going down, a Hotline is alone in a 1v4, and that is a little bit worse. HP doesn't really matter when they have that much of a player difference, and there goes the round to IV. That's a clean offensive point on the board, and they just need a few more to potentially push this to their map, or maybe we go to the tiebreaker. I'm just happy we have the tiebreaker as an option if it is the case, because I feel like regular season 2, you know, last season, seasons ago, these 2 teams regularly tying. You know, I feel like it's something that isn't very uncommon when you get to this level of gameplay, where when you're going up against a squad of equal skill, yeah, you're just going to trade rounds back and forth to some degree until you end up getting to that 6-6 point. But graphics, I'm curious if you think we're headed there, or if IV is going to maybe take... I don't know. I feel like IV's got the momentum right now.
IV has the momentum, and the way Acer's been playing with their defense seems to cater to IV's style, as we saw kind of the past 2 rounds. Obviously, the first one being up to a coin flip on the 50-50 quick draw, but this last round, we saw the hot Acer defense again. Earlier, if you remember, talked about the hot Acer offense, but now the hot Acer defense against the patient IV offense doesn't seem to be working out very well for Acer, so I want to see if they're going to attempt the dig-in strategy, or if they're going to kind of go the same way here, heading into round number 9 of the second half of the game here.
Very curious. I think I saw IVI prime a grenade and throw it to their own feet. Meanwhile, Uncle Ron takes out Hotline. Drone gets taken out as well. LFT is looking to rotate through on servers. May get seen by the drone. Doga is ready as well. Hear the drop. Ready to push through. Blind fire on both sides. They miss each other quite a bit. Jet is on flank. Will Proxy look to push through? We do hear a Knut from LFT, which is a dangerous pick on the side of IVI, because if LFT can get into their ranks, he can get some fantastic kills. We saw that on the last matchup, Nightfire. I don't know if you remember the 5K with the Knut, the ace, with I believe Catgirl.
Yeah, come on. I can't forget the ace Knut. LFT trying to replicate the success here. And in the close quarters, it's definitely dangerous. So the server room, a great place for it to be utilized. And you can see Ivy really playing this one cautiously. They're not overextending. They're not getting over-aggressive. They're not playing this very fast. And maybe it's throwing Acer off, or maybe that's just playing into their hand as LFT can swing for 1. Can't get more than that.
Try to get more. I think part of that was maybe just not waiting long enough. You have to let IVI get a little impatient. They're waiting for a push. If you wait them out just a little bit longer, it might help your plate a little bit with that shotgun. Doga trying to push through the incendiary. Does take out 2, takes out James and Uncle Ron. It's just Kha'Zix taking out 1. Sleets on Kha'Zix against Jet and Tech9. Not too bad of a matchup, as Jet is off point, so Tech9 is alone. Jet trying to go for the flank, I believe. IVI staying pretty patient on the outside of the point. They're not trying to just full rush it, but they're not waiting too long. They only have 25 seconds left as Jet is set up on the wall peak. Tech9 is waiting. Jet turns his back and gets taken out. Now it's just Tech9. Unlucky timing over on Acer, as now it is a 1v2. They do get info peeked out. Tech9 looking to push up. Does get taken out by Kha'Zix. I believe with a extended mag on his gun allows him to just kind of hold the trigger down and take him out as he tries to info peek it.
I mean, so close at the end of the day there. Again, from what could have been disaster for Ivy. If Aesir had committed a little bit to the flank, they could have popped into the side of server room, had a double kill pretty easily. So there's some opportunities there that round for Aesir to lock in the lead themselves. But, I mean, Ivy, again, is looking comfortable. They're in control of the economy, and they're going to get another full buy. Meanwhile, Gravix, Aesir going heavy on the rifles, but they have very little utility.
Yeah, the economy not looking the best for Aesir. They could be getting some of that cash for the round lost bonus, but I don't think that's really taken effect yet, how close these two teams have been. But for Ivy, what I've been seeing pretty significantly in the second half here is that their gunplay has kind of been outweighing Aesir's here. The way that the guns have been firing, I mean, there's nothing more to say than what I just did. Ivy just outgunning Aesir right now, and that could be the difference against these two very, very evenly matched teams.
It truly is top-level play so far. You have to talk about some teams. You watch them play, you think, you know, some utility is going to come out, those are going to be the big kills, but the gunplay is really what is deciding this matchup. You do have utility that's slowing people down, like we talked about, but you need to have the gunplay to match. Jett is on a pretty long roam currently, maybe trying to flank out these players, but we know from IVI matchups in the past that IVI has a pretty robust flank watch. They don't really let themselves get flanked out too bad, but I'm gonna eat my words. Kha'Zix just has his back turned, turns around just in time to get shot, but Slitso survives on 3 health. EMP is down, but both teams are down 2 players. Slitso's down to 3, and importantly, there's no stim for him to heal up.
Yeah, what is the play here? Oh no, they picked one up. They scooped one up. Slitso should be able to heal, finding one off of one of their teammates, I suppose, because they definitely didn't have any utility on the line from the defensive end. So 2 health syringes. Maybe, I don't know. LFT and Doga both with health syringes as well. Push though. 3v3, a nice swing from Doga for the double. They got to get rid of him. Uncle Ron stuck. Wow, what a vault out play. I mean, what the heck? That's confidence from Aesir coming off of 2 rounds lost in a row to then bounce back there and keep it tied 5-5. It's exactly what you expect, Gravix, when you go in to a #1 versus #2 matchup in VRML.
Yup, and there's that Aesir hot defense strategy working its magic. Looks like Doug was finally able to find that perfect timing, peek out the window, grabs the 2, vaults out and grabs the 3rd, knows exactly where he is. I mean, just superb game sense there by Aesir, and that's what you expect from, I think, right now, the #1 ranked team in the Breachers VRML. Superb from both sides. Obviously, gunplay still going off. Specifically, I want to touch on something that Pligan mentioned a little bit ago. He said extended mag. That's one of the many attachments you can get in Breachers if you're new. In the buy phase, you can buy attachments for your gun. You see a lot of the scopes we see on these weapons. You can get the red dot. They're customizable scopes now. Triangle Factory, a phenomenal feature added back into the game, and I can talk a little bit more about that next round. But right now, round number 11, it's clutch time. We're heading into the penultimate round here.
And we're seeing both teams have a very patchwork economy. We're seeing SMGs mixed with rifles, mixed with everything in between. Meanwhile, we do see a bathroom hold, and like we talked about before, we're not seeing as many clone projectors as we would like, but it's mostly because they're so expensive. $400 is quite a lot to invest for something that will, in all honesty, it doesn't provide a ton of utility compared to other bits of utility you could spend your money on. You know, it is something where you buy it because you have extra money rather than it's going to be the deciding factor in a round. Uncle Ron takes out Hotline, Doga ready on bathroom, but you know, if you try to get a clone, it's something where the team might shoot it, it might give you some information, but it's not going to take out a player, which is, at the end of the day, what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And getting ready to dive in to final moments of this map, honestly. I mean, this is second to last round. Winner here sets it up for map points. Otherwise, we could head into that overtime. for map number 1. Shots zipping over the head of Uncle Ron as they go through that wall, but won't connect at the end of the day. And I wonder if there's going to be another... There is. And this is interesting to see. There is a clone setup here, but it's in a different position than it was when it was the main culprit of distraction a few rounds ago. So, there's Doga pushing out Proxy, not ready for that swing. Utility comes flying into the back line, and Doga pumps some rounds in through the hatch. Not going to connect, though. Drops back, lets the clone distract, and tucks in with the rest of the trio to make it a
3v3. Nade unfortunately goes out, but it does take down the procs, as well as a static. Doga is ready, along with LFT, both mostly full health. At this point, it's a game of patience. Can one team, bait out the other? And a very unfortunate incendiary goes on top of the ceiling decoration. LFT takes out James. Doga takes out Cecil. It's just Uncle Ron against this Aesir 3-stack. A rough prospect for any team, but especially this late, you have even economy, and a single headshot will decide that. Aesir has guaranteed themselves overtime or a win as long as they can finish out this last round.
Yep. And into the last round we go, Gravix. The nerves got to be pumping through, I imagine, on the IV side right now, because if we remember, this is the most they've ever scored against Aesir so far this season. Their last matchup, not so hot, 3-7 and 3-7 on the 2 maps that they did play. And, now is a chance where they've got this 5-6 option, maybe a tiebreaker on the line. I mean, I got to imagine that pressure could be an impact on this last round here.
Very well could be, but I think the thing that Ivy has to keep in mind is to keep playing the way they've been playing. There's a reason that they're at 5 points right now, and they're going toe for toe with Aesir. They're turning the tides of history, and if they keep playing as patiently as they have been, if Aesir tries the same strategy they were before they won that last round, their hot defense, it could work back out for Ivy. Looks like we're going to see Uncle Ron possibly going the roam here as we get started. Round number 12 of our first map, Skyscraper.
Yeah, and we're seeing IVI is at a bit of a disadvantage on this push. Obviously, 1, they're on offense on Skyscraper, which is one of them. 2, if you look at their economy, they have not even a Marui or a Vezin. They have a Kadeo, 2 Arils, now a Marui, apologies, and an RCP. Not a good setup to have, and almost no utility. They have 1 throwable between all of them. Only an incendiary. If they win this, they'll probably get thrifty, honestly. Meanwhile, Acer is set up with almost everything they could get and more. Tech9 could buy a rifle for the other team and still get some utility. However, Acer needs to not let up. If they give IVI any ground, it's going to let them push up and get some fantastic peeks off. And especially, they're watching that flank, which there is no flanker this time, but that would be good for them if they could get it off. LFT is waiting pretty patiently. Already, we're 45, 50 seconds in. Just now, gunfire is getting exchanged. IVI trying to push up towards the lounge, trading some shots, but not able to take down LFT just yet.
Push coming in from Proxy and Ashton as they zone out the outside defense. And much like we saw with IV, Acer tucking in very tightly around objective, not risking pushing out too far as Doga gets a quick heal, throws a defensive smoke, but goes down from the Kadeo through that smoke. It's one way to find the connection and find the kill. It keeps it 4-4, and weapon advantage still leading into the Acer hands with Marui's across the board.
They're ready to push up. Good defense from Acer so far. They're just staying in the point, not letting IVI push too far. Slitzo might try to blow the wall. I don't really see... Actually, I don't believe there's a foam on the IVI side. I don't think they can blow the wall. They have to push in through the doorway. Now, LFT takes down Uncle Ron. Tech9 takes out Proxy. It's just Kha'Zix and Slitzo. Now there's a foam, but it's too late. Tech9 takes out Kha'Zix. Jet takes out Slitzo. And that will take map 1 for Acer. We will be having a map 2, which is going to be a very interesting one. Before we transition, do you have any closing thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I just want to say a quick shout out to VRML Con happening again this year. If you want to get more information for the in-person event where you can win up to $20,000 in cash if you were to play in all of the tournaments that are being held across 5 different VR esports games. All the information at vrmasterleague.com/VRMLCon. Just a quick shout out for that, and appreciate everyone that's been tuning in. It's a good hype crowd stopping by for this high tier matchup, and we appreciate you all hanging out.
And we will see you all for map 2 very shortly. We're going to go do a quick ad break until that is happening. We'll see you there.
Prepare to start.
Only Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Spud in the bottom, going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Wow.
Match point.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Breachers VRML here on the VRML Network channel. We just got off an exciting map 1 between Aesir and IVI NA, and we're looking at getting ready to start on our second map. Gravix, do you have any thoughts on that last round that we didn't quite get to?
Not necessarily. Just the fact that IV was able to keep up with Aesir, something we haven't really seen. That win streak luck could be coming back for this second map here, as it looks like we are going to be heading to Arctic Nightfire. So another map that IV hasn't played yet this season. So
familiar with Arctic at this point, and we don't get a lot of new maps introduced often into these seasons, mainly because it's, actually I said the opposite. We actually do get a new map pretty regularly introduced each season, but these teams get so familiar with it so quickly. They're practicing, they're scrimmaging every day, they're putting in a lot of time, and effort into these matchups, into these rounds, into outthinking their opponent. Like, to your point, picking maps that your opponent hasn't played, picking maps that you maybe have scrimmed against your opponent on and know you can win against them on. Like, there's a lot that we also don't see. When we see the stats, we're missing a lot of the behind the scenes work that they're putting in when it is scrims, when it is regular, maybe even just, you know, pub lobbies where they're finding stuff against each other. You know, I think there's a lot more knowledge that gets factored into each of these rounds, and we'll see how it goes for IV. Maybe they'll surprise us here. They surprised me with a 5-6 first half, quite frankly. Plague, I think they could put up a good fight here on Arctic.
I think so. We do have a meta push from IVI, ready to push through with a drone, droning in Uncle Ron. Uncle Ron actually going in ahead of the drone was a bit of a risky play. We do have LFT on a roam upstairs. Tech 9 ready to push out. Barely doesn't get any hits off. Hotline ready in the back room. Actually will not get seen by Sleet. So another drone coming up. Foxy really struggling to film this wall. Does get it off. Doga is ready. LFT trying to push down the stairs. A lot is happening in a short time. They're ready to get the wall open. Hopefully IVI has that robust flank watch that I've been talking about before, because we do have LFT ready to push down very quickly if he can get it off.
I think that was a defensive smoke that comes up as soon as the wall is broken to prevent that push from being coordinated and coming in with a breach to a breach, which is what I think they would have wanted to do. They would have wanted to breach that wall, push in fast, breach the other wall, try and pinch. But because the smoke was put out, it doesn't allow it. Uncle Ron still sets up for a nice kill. Tech 9 swings for another. Ashton stops LFT on the flank, and now Tech barreling forward, getting a little too aggressive, is punished for their trying to get into this site, but they do have B control. EMP going down. Hotline, all that's left on Aesir, and Proxy gets the back of their head scooped out as Hotline looks for more.
Yeah, we got just Hotline versus Slitzo and Ashton James. No utility. It comes down to pure gun skill, maybe some play spacing. I don't know why I say maybe. It's going to be play spacing. Meanwhile, Hotline is ready. He could get pushed from two sides as Slitzo and James are both ready. Hotline could potentially get the defuse off if he just stuck the defuse, but he chooses to rotate out and gets taken down by Slitzo. Honestly, in that case, neither of those players pushed up when he started defuse. He might have been able to just stick it and gotten the stealth defuse off.
Yeah, we obviously see a lot more than these players are seeing. We're seeing through the walls. We're seeing, you know, names over their heads. And it's surprising sometimes these players even know who they're going up against, who they're shooting, just based off the mannerisms of the person, off of how they're moving and how they're shifting. But regardless, we see more than they do, obviously, and so our perspective gives us that shoulda, woulda, coulda. That obviously, when you're in the moment, when you're getting pushed, when everything is getting happening so quickly, you kind of want to just clutch, right? Like the pressure is like to execute, to try and get to the second map win and get Ivy out of your hair is definitely here right now.
That's the goal for Aesir. Looks like their eco kind of reflecting that. They got 2 SMGs, 3 SMGs, count them. They bought another one just a second ago. Now got the 2 pistols. While we take a look at Ivy, and it looks like they're going baller on the eco. We're seeing a rifle coming out in round number 2.
IBI
that is interesting, Plague. I mean, to go this big of a buy from IBI, yeah, it's or IV, whatever. It is a big investment in themselves, and they're trying to run out the scoreline 2-0 here.
LFT is getting caught between a rock and a hard place on Kitchen. He has 2 players on window. Decides to push out, might get found by other players, but luckily he has half his team here in mess hall trying to help him, or dining rather. Slitzo, Proxy, Ashton James trying to push it on Kitchen. Meanwhile, LFT, Jet, and Hotline all defending this central point on the map. Uncle Ron getting relatively low, pushing back towards the rest of his team. Slitzo, Ashton James ready on the vent, get taken down by Jet. Nade drops to the ground. That's going to be some utility they could use, maybe sliding it through the vent. Aesir has a chokehold on Kitchen and Dining currently. IVI is going to have a tough time getting in or out.
Ashton takes a touch of damage there. Knows Jet's home and waiting as LFT scoops up Kha'Zix. 3v4, 4v2. Ashton now low, and there's a nice pickup on the other side. They'll quickly get scooped up. Back-to-back trades come through as Uncle Ron puts a little bit of kills through on the board. Tries to pre-fire Doga, but just doesn't have the HP with the SMG. And really nice bounce back from Aesir here in round 2.
Aesir knows exactly what they're doing and what they need to do. We saw them hunker down on that kitchen and mess hall, just like you said, Plague, and it worked out pretty darn well. A stark contrast from what we saw in in Skyscraper, rather. That was the last map. Another thing Aesir's been doing very well is we see him using the util very, very nicely. Saw an instant at the beginning. That first round we saw the smoke and the instant delaying the pushes from Ivy. Could be a confidence thing from Ivy's end, because we haven't seen them play this map much. Obviously, it looks like they've been working on it. Score's still tied, and it's still very, very early in the map, but I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of this plays out.
Yeah, only round 3. It's still early, Plague. They're settling into the rhythm, and quite frankly, I think let's just get ready for a 3-3 half and another 6-5, potentially 6-6 map 2 here, because I think we're just going to keep this back and forth sort of trading of momentum going throughout this series.
We shall see. This is a rough point for both teams, actually. I would say these are relatively even as long as the wall gets blown. If IVI gets the wall blown, they can start to get a defuse down. We saw them do, I believe, a pretty cheeky lean plant at some point before in one of these matches where they leaned around the door frame and planted without having to deal with any statics or trips or anything like that. May go for that again. LFT getting pretty aggressive with the frag out into the hall. Does take Proxy down, I believe, a single HP. You know, takes down 2. Wall is foamed. We do see Ashton James on the flank watch, which is going to be very important. Slitzo and Kha'Zix ready on the opposite of the wall blow. LFT takes out Slitzo through the wall just before it's blown. Back of the point is occupied. We do see incendiaries coming out, as well as smokes in order to let these players push up a little bit further. LFT waiting inside the smoke. Nade goes out. We're seeing utility traded back and forth, but no kills other than Slitzo through the wall.
LFT botches their own incendiary as they try to toss it around the corner, and it ends up killing them. Hotline at least answers back with the kill themselves, so Aesir still looking okay. 4v3 in the advantage. This plant trying to come through from Uncle Ron as the EMP gets tossed up to him, and how many more utility pieces are left on Aesir? I think that smoke was the last one.
Tech9 waiting on the box, might get pushed by Uncle Ron. Uncle Ron ready, waiting, takes out one, gets taken out by Hotline. It's just Ashton James holding a drone and a, he was holding a drone and a healing stem, as well as an Omen against a Marui, a Kadeo, and an Omen. A rough matchup, to say the least. Aesir picks up their second map, and they seem very excited. Not map, sorry, their round. They seem very excited about it. Gravix, what did you see on that push that maybe went just maybe a little bit wrong for IVI?
I think the way that they were, honestly, I think the util from Aesir was the thing that stopped the IV momentum there. I feel like they could have had it, but Aesir's util was just a little too strong for IV there. All of the util we've been seeing coming out from Aesir is exactly what you'd expect to see from a team that knows their lineups, knows the map very well. We see a phenomenal trade back from Ivy with instants on both sides. Obviously a couple of misplays. LFT with obviously the miss throw on his own incendiary there. I think dropping the only person on Aesir, but yeah, the way they've been using their util is exactly what we want to see at this level.
Yeah, I guess the only death that round was a self-inflicted one from LFT, but yeah, obviously a good argument there that Aesir is definitely locking in here on their defensive portion. How will their offensive portion look is the question mark I'm starting to put into my mind, because if it's as good as they are on defense, then we could be done with this thing in 2 maps. IV just need a point, though, to bounce right back into things, and already scooping up LFT, getting aggressive on that outside swing. I think it's maybe the consequence of over-aggression, but there's Tech9 barreling up for a triple.
Fantastic triple kill from Tech9 from behind the desk. I'm surprised the drone didn't see him. It's a testament to LFT taking out both of the drones, making IVI come in very blind. They had no information at all. EMP is now down, favoring Aesir. They just need to get these defense off. We have Slitzo and Kha'Zix inside, trying to just get this off. However, we do see Aesir pulling back to point, knowing they have numbers advantage. They're using that very well. That is what we like to see. We don't like to see players, you know, walking out one by one, getting taken out by a 2-stack. We like to see them staying together, getting the refrags, covering cross angles, everything in between. Kha'Zix checking the backline just in case. 2 Maruis, not a bad set of weapons to have as the last few people in the round. Minute left on the clock as well. They have a good few options as long as they can get this off, but I think we might be seeing a save, actually, unless it's a very big rotate. We might just be seeing a save unless they're rotating to A. While they do that, I just want to talk about the push from Aesir. You know, they're on defense, but they push straight in to that offense. We did see immediately those kills from behind the desk paying off in spades. Nightfire, you know, what are you seeing in this defense that is just the golden ticket for Aesir so far?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the scoreboard here, you can see Hotline and Tech9 both up there with 6 and 5 respectively, doing quite well with that triple kill on that front line, like you said. LFT getting aggressive too, maybe even like a bait to some degree, because they kill LFT out on that front. And then I think you can safely, relatively, at this level, assume that there's not going to be a second one committed to be, like, they're not going to go crazy and get, Acer's not going to double push and, like, have us go into a 5v3 right away. At least that's what I'd be thinking if I was IV. And so, whether that's the case or not, I think that threw them off a little bit to have Tech also there. And so that triple kill sets things up nice. They just say, okay, we're done. We can't push in. And they're going to hold on to their rifles because they do need them. They have... well, actually, I don't know. With them losing this many consecutive, I feel like they're not in too bad of shape, but it sets them up nicely for this next half, Grav.
Yeah, we're seeing the RCP coming out from Ivy. We still see some Uncle Ron with the pistol. I think that might just be that he hasn't fully gotten that buy yet, but I've been saying it this entire match so far. Acer's hot defense. It came out that last round, and it did wonders. They're confident. I think Acer's pretty confident that they can outgun and outplay Ivy on this map. And I mean, we see it in the statistics. Acer's played this map a lot. Yeah. They were, I think right now, their record on Arctic is 3-2. So they know what they're doing here. As we head into round number 5, is Ivy going to be able to bounce it back?
I mean, there's almost some level of argument to be made, Plague, that if you do have a couple losses on a map, but your win rate's around 60%, you may be stronger on that map than you are weaker, just because you've had the experience of losing, so you know maybe what can end around for you, and that gives you more knowledge, more map knowledge, more understanding at a high tier. We'll see if that plays into effect here as they toss a nade in, and Doga holds up the front line early.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I typically put more weight behind a win rate of, let's say, 56% on a map where they've played 30-something, 40-something rounds, rather than 80% win rate on 7 rounds, you know, because that could be getting lucky, a good day, or just, speaking of luck, Ivy had their bot walk directly in front of the defense. Doga now has a Marui, a grenade, and the EMP right in front of him. Snapped me right out of my thoughts, trying to push out and take the advantage. Proxy takes out him with the Arill, pushing out, taking out another Hotline, now taken out as well. It is just a 2v3. I can't have a moment with my thoughts. Jet gets the wall up right next to him. He's stuck between 3 players, trying to get this off. So does get incendiaried. Ron is ready to push in. Jet is still behind the box. And these 2 players don't know. Jet takes out 1, takes out 2. Going for the 3K, just barely can't find Slitzo. Slitzo is suddenly on a 1v2. Talk about a role reversal. We had a 3v2, now a 2v1 because of the fantastic flick from Jet. Jet also is holding EMP.
Acer coming back in the late stage of this round. Slitzo not going to shoot the clone. Doesn't get baited out by that, and does find Jet. The double from Slitzo. What a 1-2 transfer, and that's the danger of the Marui. High damage, and at that range, 1 shot, 2 shots. Is it 1 shot to the head? I don't know.
1 shot.
That was a beautiful transfer from head to head on the 2 that were left alive. Ivy doesn't need 5 players. They just need 4.
Well done.
My goodness, the way that momentum swung back and forth, it was a pendulum. That entire game, we saw the quick push, or the hunker from Aesir, able to take out some of Ivy, then Ivy comes back, then Aesir comes back, then Ivy comes back again with the 2K at the end. Just the way that these teams play and they use VR to their advantage and the way they are able to aim, it's something that someone like me could never dream of. It's it's insane the way these people are playing.
Yeah, it's the top tier. It's 1 and 2 in the VRML. It's our 4th season running for the Breachers squad, and yeah, you're getting teams very comfortable, very familiar, very locked in at a high level, and I just love to see how it continued to get more and more entertaining to watch as these seasons have gone by. Hotline takes the bot out, not something to get too crazy about. And yeah, it's just the skill level at the high level is tremendous, and I think across the board we're seeing the skill level elevate in the game of Breachers because everyone's just getting more comfortable with this game. There's more knowledge, there's more transfer of it. It's a good time to get in. If you want to join, you can always jump in the VRML. You can always play with the game of Breachers. If you pick it up, highly recommend. It is one of the top tier rated FPSs. This is Uncle Ron, barrels in. LFT gonna get pushed.
Uncle Ron doesn't know about the second flanker. It might get taken out by Doga if he's not sure if Doga can get up quick enough. We did see Uncle Ron a very dedicated flank watch. He was watching that staircase from the start of the round, waiting for the drone to get up to check it for him. Meanwhile, right now, a 4v4 health advantage does belong to Aesir, but it's not too bad as there is a heal over on IV. This is very much winnable on both sides, especially as we do have Uncle Ron pushing down, does take out Doga on the flank. That's a very important pickup because that is a Vezin, a smoke, and a nade down for IV to pick up if they really want to. 3v4. Trying to get into the point. Sitso does hold EMP. I think it's important for IV to get an idea of where they want to push because right now they seem a bit stagnant in Green Hallway.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a delay. It could end up being their demise. This hotline just continues to wait. Audio transmitter giving some info. That's a good nade toss, and it'll do the job. Hotline goes down. Holding that front line as Tech9 steps forward to their demise. Headshots connecting. LFT tries to spin, or excuse me, Jet tries to spin. Still 3 letters. Loses to Sitso, and IV with 4 alive only lose the bot and come out on top. They don't have. They still have only 4 out of 5 on their side, but they've managed to tie Aesir 3-3.
And we're in the second half now. I mean, it honestly, in my eyes, it flew by. We saw Aesir so dominant in the first quarter. Ivy able to push back in this second quarter. Now heading into the second half, kind of like a clean slate here.
Yeah, they are in. I don't know. It's weird. I guess again, Gravix, I'm curious what you think. But I mean, if you look at the Ace, we can statistically assume Aesir has got a little bit more familiarity on this map, and I don't know. I think it leads 50-50 most of the time. I don't really tend to see one side dominate Arctic too much.
Yeah, my eyes right now looking at the stats and seeing the ways both these teams have been playing all night. I think it's somewhere around like a 60, 65 to like 40, 45-ish range here in favor of Aesir as we head into round number 7, first round of the second half.
Okay, favoring Aesir. We'll see. They are going on the attack. Their offensive sides have been obviously super coordinated and effective, but Ivy's been putting up a good fight as they lock down B site. A little bit of guesswork coming in through the walls just to see if they can do some damage to anyone crossing by. But so far, nothing's touched. Oh, there's one.
I have to say, it's rough for IV to be down a player on defense, especially on pistol round. On this floor on Arctic, this is a perfect storm for Aesir to have a fantastic advantage on the push-in. LFT down pretty low, Sitso also down. A lot of utility ready to come out on both sides. Nade, incendiary goes out. Doga gets taken out by a fantastic nade from Uncle Ron. Proxy trying to follow it up with another great nade. LFT with EMP looks to be trying to push up. However, 5v4 bot Ewout somehow still alive because he's on the opposite side of the building, leaving the potential for a player to come back in. Proxy does get incendiaried a little, and that is actually almost all the throwables out. LFT will get the plant off. He's on a little island that's barely safe for the incendiary.
Uncle Ron's like, what's going on over here? Checks and doesn't see LFT in the corner. Almost catches his multiple kills. Ashton actually with a team, no, Uncle Ron with a team kill from the Incen. EMP's planted. Tech9's trying to hold things down alone. Actually has, Jet on the backside. I didn't see him on the outside of the door. And they're doing a great job holding this EMP as Ashton is all that's left.
If only bot Ewot had stuck in the EMP, Ashton and Ron might have been able to actually hold that down. We saw Ewot stick to the EMP and start defusing and then get shot barely and stop. But that could have turned out actually pretty well with the bot because it's undaunted. You know, a lot of real players would tap the EMP, then switch around, but the bot just stuck on it and got, I believe, 2 done.
Yeah, and I mean, sorry, when you're going up against a team like this, Graphics, I don't think you want to go 4v5.
Yeah, definitely not favorable for Ivy, but they've been doing a really, really good job in the way they've been playing around the bot. Obviously, as Plague mentioned, the way that bot just sticks to the EMP could be a very good advantage if we see another post-plant scenario. Speaking of post-plant scenario, the way Aesir played that, Jet, and I think it was Tech9, set up in the crossfire situation, ready for both of them to come out and get the peaks. Just Aesir doing what they do best. They know Arctic, and they know the way to counter and sit on this post-plant. I'm pretty sure that's the first, if not a very, one of few post-plants we've seen this match. So, yeah, I mean, heading into round number 8, let's see what happens again for Aesir.
So immediately taking out the bot to get some better weaponry is a great idea because that saves him the money for an Omen or other utility. Uncle Ron takes out LT immediately, as well as Doga. Some quick pickups. Hotline throwing down Incendiary to save himself on, I believe, an entry from green. But Uncle Ron has done a fantastic job on the flank, looking to maybe try to pick up a third if he can on Tech9. Some rough player losses. Tech9 goes down relatively low on that flank. Hotline, I thought that was an enemy nade, but I believe it was just a nade that went wrong on himself. Nade to green hallway will take Ashton James down just a little bit of health. Proxy is on green, ready to get this off. Jet is trying to peek in. Aesir is a bit stagnant on this push towards Jim, but they have all full health, and they're ready with their weaponry. We'll see if they can get this push off.
Nice Incen. Proxy goes down to half HP. Ashton up on the front line goes down, but Proxy finds a refrag. Jet trying to peek in the smoke. Blinds Proxy, but also keeps them hidden from Jet. So Proxy lies in wait in this smoke as Jet pushes up. Sleet So connects, and now it's Tech9 alone. The defensive utility coming in clutch.
I think Tech9 may be trying to go for a rotate. He does have EMP, so we could blow the wall into A into plant, which might be his best bet. He doesn't have a lot of time. He's about a minute. And right now, he has the advantage of holding EMP. If EMP had been dropped, this might have just been a buy round almost. Tech9 goes for the foam on the wall. I'm surprised to not see him push to A. 45 seconds left. He does have an Omen. You see Sleetso and Proxy, neither of them really falling for that wall blow. They both stay exactly where they are. Now he's pushing around towards that wall. Sleetso and Proxy rotating into green, knowing they have time. Tech9 ready to push in towards A. EMP is going down. Looks like we do have Sleetso and Proxy opting to stay together, which is a fantastic plan. Normally you see players maybe split up just a little bit. Rough! Takes out one. Tech9 ready, trying to take out another. Does get wall banged out, but that was almost a fantastic clutch from Sleetso.
Kha'Zix finally comes back for IV, but like I said, sometimes they haven't needed that extra player. And if anything, the SMG that they pulled off of the dead bot comes in clutch there as Proxy locks in a major round for the team. That was almost a beautiful double kill. Like you said, the transfer from the SMG to the pistol, trying to just keep shooting. But here we go. Again, Graphics, we're 4v4. I'm predicting that the tiebreaker 6-6 here for map 2.
Yeah, the tiebreaker kind of seems imminent here, the way that both these teams have been playing. I want to point something out that we've seen across this map very frequently. and it's the phenomenal utility by both teams. We see it being prioritized in all the buys, or at least we have seen it being prioritized. We see a little bit coming out from the Ivy defense now, and a bunch coming out from Aesir as well. But the way these teams have been planning their smokes, their incense, their frags, we've seen a couple of great frag kills tonight. If Bob were here, I'm sure we would have had a couple of S-tier frags.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
just the way these players have been using their util, it's exactly what you expect from the top level. It's just, I'm in awe right now, just watching.
Here we go, round 9, tied 4-4 Plague, and Aesir going with an SMG buy, but a Marui for IV on Sleetso side, and another disconnect for them, so they're down to 4.
I don't know what is happening. Maybe some internet issues. Now, Bot Neil is just going to his death. He only has a Spectral, which is better than having anything else, but he actually takes Jet down some health, which allows Sleetso to get a good pick off through I believe, a corner bang. 1-1, and a pretty good trade, honestly. Losing a bot for taking down Jet is a great trade. We do have Aesir trying to push up towards the point. Uncle Ron, Proxy, and Sleetso all defending on B. However, Aesir seems to not have too much of a plan going currently. And I believe, unless Jet had foam, they might not even have foam. So we'll see if they can pick it up. Right now, I'm looking at Jet's body. I don't think that Aesir picked up any foam. I'm just wrong. Doga had it hidden somewhere. Doga nearly gets wall banged out. Now trying to push him to the point. IVI has a great defense down. Kha'Zix is back, but he's unfortunately dead already because Neil tried to push up. We'll see if Aesir can get this push off. They're very spread out around the point.
Doga breaking it open, and B on the menu. A little instant. Slow Doga down, but the push definitely coming in. Uncle Ron connects the first. Tech 9 with the refrag, and back and forth we go.
Look at the health over on Aesir. 10 health between LFT and Tech 9. 10 health remaining. Meanwhile, there's 2 full health players on IVI. LFT trying to push out, gets taken out by Uncle Ron. Now, it is just one more trying to go through the smoke. Tech 9 takes out Sleetso. Does not have a heal. He doesn't have a stim or anything. He just has a cloak to his name. And he doesn't have EMP. It's out in the hallway. IVI patrolling. They smell blood in the water. They're trying to get this off. About to peek around. Tech 9 trying to get through this. Does see a gun barrel, but barely can't get the pre-fire off. Against 200 health players. Trying to get this down. He does have a stim. His best bet is trying to isolate these IVI players, but he needs to get the kill. He doesn't have time to get the EMP implant at this point. Check his corners. And he gets taken down.
Are in the lead right now, 5-4. Aesir are no stranger to bouncing back, but they're on offense, Graphics, and I feel like they've got their backs against the wall a little bit here going into round 10.
Even being on Arctic, it's definitely a map where defense seems to thrive a little bit more. We saw it with Aesir last half, and we're seeing it with Ivy this half, now being able to squeak into the lead. But the way things have been going, I wouldn't count Aesir out. Yeah. We see everybody on a full buy, util almost to the max here. I mean, it is really, truly a coin flip if you're taking a look at the score. I have nothing else to say. I'm ready to see how the rest of this map goes.
I have to say, we do have standout players. Uncle Ron, 13-7, Tech 9, 12-6. That's a 2.0 KD on Tech 9, nearly a 2.0 over on Uncle Ron. We see 2 players who seem to be pretty locked in for their team, trying to just get this down, get these points off. It's trying to nickel and dime their way to a win at this point, get all the kills they can while still staying alive themselves.
Uncle Ron waiting on the front line. Trying to be an aggressor here early as IV starting to settle into their comfort zone, maybe. Interestingly enough, on a map that we don't have a lot of history with them on, so it's curious how well they are doing, but it's expected. Again, IV probably, if we looked at last season, past seasons, they played Arctic. They're obviously familiar with it, just haven't bumped into it this season yet. There's more in the map pool, obviously, this season than in past seasons as well, so it could just all be factors of why those stats don't show this. But Ivy, regardless, playing well here and now pushing in finally to site.
Doga pushing in onto Dining. Kha'Zix, hopefully he checks his corner. Does check his corner. Takes down Kha'Zix. Slitzo takes out Doga in return. Jet takes out Slitzo on a refrag. Uncle Ron trying to get the refrag as well. In Green Hall, peeks in, takes out Tech9, trying to take out Jet as well as he's in, takes out Jet. It's LFT and Hotline. LFT gets hit a little bit by a nade. Uncle Ron takes out Hotline. I believe that's a 3 or 4K on Uncle Ron. It's just LFT left trying to take down 3 IVI players at once. He is holding EMP. He could push in on point, as currently every single one of these IVI players are off of their points.
Yeah, it's intentional, obviously. They've got some utility placed behind them, like door blockers and a clone, that are all meant to draw attention and slow down a push if it does come through behind them. So they do recognize, to your point, that, yeah, they're off site. Something could be happening. And they drop back to be happy with their 3v1 situation and, frankly, potentially heading to map point. Unless LFT clutches up here, this is going to be 6-4 map 2 for IV.
Yeah, this is a rough clutch on Arctic because you do have a Maru, but the other team does as well. And they can just wall penetrate. As soon as they know where they are, they can just fire so many shots down range at you and kill you, by death by 1,000 paper cuts. Getting wall bangs, corner bangs, anything they can just to whittle down your health as much as possible. Incend goes out. LFT takes out Uncle Ron, but Proxy ensures his death with an incendiary between his feet. IVI getting to their map point, 6-4. Aesir has to get 3 rounds in a row to win, 2 rounds in a row to get to OT. We'll see if they can get it off.
It's like I'm eating my words a little bit, gentlemen. I had said earlier I thought Aesir would have a little advantage here, but Ivy obviously right now at map points could be taking it to a map 3 if they squeak out one more round here. And if people like Uncle Ron have been playing the way they've been playing, we pointed out last time on the scoreboard, but that 4K, or that, I think we had a 3K there from Uncle Ron that last round, topping the scoreboard by, I think, somewhere around over 2,000 points for his team. Doing a phenomenal job, and the rest of his team able to back him up with the util, especially. We saw it at the end there with that instant lobbed right over the crate, taking out LFT, and really, that's the way you want to see it played by a team like IVNA.
Yeah, they did a great job that last round, and this could be the last round of this map. IV looking to push this one into a victory and move on to map 3 to decide this series. I know Plague and Graphics wouldn't be too upset about diving into a third map and watching this one unfold because, hey, good action is good action.
100%. And I'm curious what the third map would be. I'm going to guess, I did predict before this we would see Arctic. I did not predict Skyscraper. The 2 bans are going to be Hideout and Mall, so we might see Factory. We'll see. Jet is ready on the hull and nearly gets wall banged out, but barely avoids it. Ashton James maybe going for a flank very slowly. That may take out LFT if he's not careful. Aesir needs to really focus up in these rounds because on mid-floor, the defense can get some fantastic things off. And just as I say that, Uncle Ron gets taken out by a great nade from Hotline, an S-tier frag, in the words of Bob. Now it is just Tech9 trying to push through. He's on the other side of the wall. Doga gets taken out from Uncle Ron. LFT, Jet, and Tech9 trying to get this down. LFT takes out Uncle Ron. It is a 4v3 favoring IVI. Can Aesir get this off?
It's a big kill coming in as Jet finds Kha'Zix, swaps for a rifle, but not quick enough. Ashton finds another, and we trade back and forth with a beautiful ensign. That sets things up for IV, the winners now of map 2, pushing us to a map 3 series decider.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts indeed. We will be covering map 3 shortly. I'm excited to see what map 3 will bring. For now, we're going to go to a quick ad break. Until that comes, we'll see you all on the next map.
Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Breachers VRML here on the VRML Network channel. I am, again, Plague Doctor here, joined by my now co-host, Gravix, as Nightfire had to step out, so just the two of us for the rest of this. We did get off a very exciting Map 2, and I'm excited for Map 3. You're going to see what it's bringing. 7-5 first map, favoring Aesir. 7-4 favoring IVI on second. It all comes down to this, Gravix.
This match has been something we haven't really seen yet out of IVNA. If you take a look at their match history against Aesir, Aesir were pretty dominant so far, but the way Ivy's been playing it could very, very well go into their favor. Map number 3 looks like it's going to be Ship, which we finally have some stats for Ivy on. They have about a 50 or so % win rate. I think they are 3-2 on the map, if I recall correctly. Yes, they are 3-2. So, going to be interesting. Ivy finally going to be a little more familiar with league play on Ship League. So, let's see how it plays out. Could be a coin flip like these past two maps. I mean, we've seen scores been going back and forth this entire time.
On paper, this actually does favor Aesir because they've played 39 rounds of Ship, 72% win rate. That's pretty high as all things are considered. Well, meanwhile, IVI has played 35 and has won 54, which is nothing to scoff at, but 72 on nearly 40 rounds? That is a crazy amount to win. We'll see if Aesir can, continue that trend. We do have, I believe, an IVI player restarting their headset, so it will be just a moment. Before we get started, we've had some fantastic utility coming out on both sides. It's been fantastic to watch these players throw out these nades, throw out these incendiaries, and the gunplay has been great. It's been a really exciting thing to watch.
Yeah, some phenomenal frags, incredible incendiaries over the course of this past game. My goodness. I mean, if you heard me last round, you saw the utility, you see it on the replays right now. The gunplay coming out from both, amazing double kill back from Sleet. So, just the way these players have been playing, hoping it comes back into map number 3 as we get ready to head on to the Ship.
We do have Ship as our third. It's going to be an exciting one. Ready to get into it. IVI starting on offense. Aesir on defense. Gonna be nice to see. Gravix, what are your predictions for this matchup so far?
Honestly, I don't have any. My predictions so far have been wrong, and the way that both these teams have been playing, I think it is legitimately a coin flip scenario.
We'll see, I suppose. I'm ready to see it go down. It's going to be an exciting watch. All pistols, obviously, but we do have all spectrals. I'm honestly surprised somewhat to not see Uncle Ron pick up a Taurus. We've seen him pick up a Taurus in the past, but it seems like they're opting just for their bread and butter. So getting ready to get into it. Now trying to figure out where these players are pushing in. IVI ready on birthing, trying to take down any players they can. Sleetzo on the window, ready to get any kills off. Proxy on the flank. A lot of utility on both sides. Meanwhile, Aesir is holding down quite a bit of defensive and offensive utility. Incendiaries, frags, and a smoke. Getting everything off they can. Meanwhile, we do have a flash over on IVI.
Some of that Uso coming out immediately. An incendiary comes out from Proxy. A couple of shots going off. Jet able to win that gunfight. Very low on health though. Frag comes out, and a phenomenal frag takes out about half health. Let's say on Ashton. Second one comes out, not going to do as much. Hotline's able to take out Uncle Ron with an aggressive swing, and now he is positioned in the hallway. The last three members of Ivy sitting here, ready on this middle section before the push. Another frag coming out. Not going to connect again. Hotline swings. Ashton able to get the kill. Great positioning by Ivy, but it looks like they're a little bit boxed in here in a 3v4 scenario.
They are. If you go ahead after you fix something on our end, keep going on your co-casting. You're doing great.
Yes, so EMP now getting dropped, so that's going to be very interesting. As we could see Ivy rotate here around over to A. They still got a minute left on the clock, so they have time to spare. Obviously, wall bangs. It looks like they're trying to get a little bit of that paper cut damage. Obviously, Ashton very low. Kha'Zix also pretty low at 76. Jet, the only member not at 100 for Aesir, and Sleetzo, the only member at 100 for Ivy. So, very, very slow, methodical here from Ivy, taking it very, very patiently. Wall's finally getting foamed up by Sleetzo, and it looks like they're going to get ready to push into B. Aesir could expect it, though. LFT looks like he's lining up to try to get some push, or try to get some good angles in the kitchen. Ashton James on the other side of the wall. Finally blows it open. Comes in with the instinct. Gets LFT a little bit. Now he hops up on the crate. Two members going down to Doga, though. And now Sleetzo, the last member up for Ivy, gets one. Rotates back around. Yuto coming out, so it looks like he can't really make advances. Jet hides behind the crate where we saw Hotline die just a minute earlier. 2 seconds left on the clock, and it looks like Sleeto's going to save a flash and a breaching of foam into round number 2. Aesir able to stay alive there and do what they needed to do to get that first point.
Well done to both teams getting this off, and now Aesir is up 1, trying to get this off on buy phase, getting some SMGs, getting some pistols. Meanwhile, IVI are just going straight for a full Omen stack. With that update, that made so they get you more economy. You know, it's pretty useful to get these SMGs down, Gravix.
Still a very, very risky buy, though, from Ivy, because if you look at the amount of credits left, they're down to like 250 apiece, while Acer's sitting pretty. The winners of last round going for a pistol buy, except for Jet, and it looks like we're not going to see as much handheld util as last time. It looks like they're deciding to adapt and say, you know what, we didn't need that util last time. Let's see if we can go without it this time. They finally picked up some more SMGs. Another at 3 SMGs, 2 pistols, but against this Ivy full buy, I'm wondering if it'll pay off for Ivy. A risk we've seen them take multiple times, but we'll see if it pays off heading into round number 2, Plague.
Ready on the meta hatch. Doga ready on back hall. Hotline ready on the door. LFT is actually behind the boxes to the left of the hatch, hoping to get a cheeky roam off. Ready on it. He does only have a spectral, but he could get good use out of it, and that will get him a good amount of economy in the future. Uncle Ron is on the door with Doga right beside him unknowingly. Now door is open. Uncle Ron watching his back, pushing in. Seeing out Doga, taking out Doga. LFT gets pushed in on, gets taken out by Ashton James, but not before taking him as well as Kha'Zix down extremely low. Some good health economy going on. IVI does go up 2 members, but they're down so much health, it might not even matter.
I think it definitely does. The extra few bullets you can get in can definitely take out a member of Acer to get the right push. Wall goes down. Oh, Jet with a phenomenal shot on Ashton James. And the instant takes a little bit off Sleet so as well. It's a 4v3, and they get out a 3v3. As Aesir hunkered down on site, we see him play it patient. They've learned from their mistakes on the Skyscraper that they were making playing their aggressive defense. And now are hunkered down waiting for Ivy to make the first move. And I think that's the way Aesir wants to play this here.
Yeah, EMP is down in point, which is really unfortunate for this IVI stack, as they need to get into the point. They have such low health. They have to check every corner possible, and there's so much crossfire that can happen between their team. It's going to be rough. Jet is on the other point. Hotline is ready on the box. Was taken out by both. Tech9 takes out Kha'Zix and Sleet, so Kha'Zix takes out only Hotline before getting taken out, and Aesir claims a 2-0 lead on map 3.
Yes, they do. That Aesir hunker, I've been harping on it. The way these teams have been playing their offense and defense, the hot, the cold, the patient versus the push. Aesir hunkering down has kind of been what we've seen being the dominant force here. Obviously, Ship, a very good map, very close quarters for the util usage and the hunkered down gunplay. Something that's come in a lot more than util, as we've seen playing. Not much util even being bought round number 3 when teams usually have enough for util. We're still seeing very scarce util buying compared to what we saw last map from Aesir. So it looks like their ship strategy is a very, very well done. They're up 2-0 going into round 3. I think this is probably the biggest early game lead we've seen yet this match.
I believe so. IVI looking to push in on the wall here on the bottom floor. LFT ready, as well as Hotline. Meanwhile, we do have a top floor roam over by Doga, maybe trying to go for a bit of a cheeky peek, but he may get a little bit sad about it. But Baptiste is actually, we see another disconnect over on the IVI side. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Kha'Zix is gone again.
And a swing ties that down. It's a Hotline, if we don't count really the bot. On the IVI side, Hotline goes down off of an aggressive swing after a failed grenade. Uncle Ron goes down. Just a phenomenal peeking by Jet. Gets another on the bot, who decided to rush right in. So it looks like Ivy not going to be able to recover the buy from the bot. Is not going to be ideal for their eco or for their numbers game. Aesir now in a 4 versus 3 scenario, and Doga on the roam on the top floor. Going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, if he's able to peek out a window and possibly get a kill on the Sleet cell. As Proxy and Ashton enter over on that kitchen, goes down to LFT. Instants come out, so Proxy gonna get zoned out and not gonna be able to get in. Sleet Zone now gonna make his way over Plague, as we see a little bit more patience coming out from Ivy. Proxy, the last one left alive.
Yeah, and it's real unfortunate. Kha'Zix came back almost just as his bot died, so he wasn't able to capitalize off of the buy. Aesir have themselves set up in a very ideal situation. Being up 2 rounds, being up 4 players, but we can't count IVI out just yet. This is the same situation we were on the first map, where IVI was down a couple rounds, then really tied it up pretty well. Doga is ready on the wall. Proxy seems to just be going for a save. It is unfortunate that he can't quite get up to the wall, because he could claim himself either another Arill, or if he's lucky enough, claim himself possibly a Vezin or a Marui from the rest of these players. Looks like he is choosing just to go downstairs, save a little bit. While he does so, I do want to talk about the utility over on IVI. Just barely isn't working out. They're trying to get these kills off with the nade. They're trying to get these kills off with the incendiary, but they're just barely not able to get it off. Doga tried to peek out, take out Proxy, barely couldn't get it off as well. And now Proxy seems to be just going for a full save. While he does, Gravix, what are you seeing here that maybe could be seen in future rounds?
I think a trend so far that I think we'll see continuously throughout this map is the lack of util that we see from both teams. I don't think it's an eco issue anymore. Ivy, now that they're down 3 rounds, gonna be kicking into that that round loss bonus. Aesir taking 3 rounds, all of them are stacked on economy, and we're still not gonna see many. At least I don't think we're gonna see many major buys. I don't think we're gonna see full incense or full frags or full smokes like we've seen on the last map, especially. The way these teams are playing is a lot more gunplay focused. And I think that's going to be the way that this continues. And if Ivy's not able to kind of step it up here, it could spell the doom for their squad. It looks like they have the 5th back in. We'll see how long that lasts, as their internet's been pretty shoddy, Plague. But right now, Ace are looking pretty dominant. I'm not going to put any predictions in yet, so I don't want to eat my words again. But Ace are looking pretty dominant. We'll see if Ivy can bounce back. As we are hitting the 2nd quarter, I'd like to call it, in the match. Round number 4.
Yeah, we're hitting critical mass at this point for Acer's economy. If they get this round off, they'll pretty much be set for the rest of the half. LFT hiding behind the box. Jet as well, hiding behind the countertop here in navigation, trying to take on the drone before it sees his hidden teammate. Very big incendiary potential to take out LFT if they're not careful. LFT throws out a nade to push Proxy out of his peak. He is going to get caught out. Might get taken out, but Proxy gets an incendiary between his feet. He stims to just barely survive. Jet takes out Uncle Ron on the other side of the building. That's a great pickup. And IVI, Proxy on IVI is down quite a bit of health. He tried to use that stim. He did use it, but it did cause him to have to be recharged for the next little bit. And currently, it is looking pretty good for Acer on their defense, but we can't count IVI out just yet. Doga is trying to push up on the flank. Slito is getting someone rotating over to get a stim. Can Doga get this off? He is on back hall. He's the only one outside of point currently. And they do know there's someone in the back. Now rotating out, takes out Doga, but not before going down even more health. Proxy just healed, and now he has to heal again. Those stims are getting used, so much usage in IVI's hands.
Yeah, Ivy now finally able to get into the building and make their push. The util that was used by Acer. Looks like I was wrong on my read. They got the 2 instants there to completely zone Ivy out of that push area. They're just now with a minute left on the clock, starting their push. The clone immediately baits out Ashton a little bit. So that clone gonna do a little bit. LSD now knows he's there. The flash comes out. Tech9 able to take out 2, gets a 3rd, gets a 4th! A 4K. Poor Tech9 gets the 2 and the other on the quick turn. The 2. Clone is doing wonders to give away the position of Ivy. And as you said, Acer's at critical economy mass now. They are able to full buy, ball out, go on a shopping spree now that they have taken 4 rounds to 0. And Ivy kind of struggling now. We're seeing them go back to SMGs. It looks like we're only going to see like 1 Marui and 1 Vezin coming out. The rest of them are going to be sitting on SMGs and lesser rifles.
It's very important for Acer to not let up the pressure. They need to not start messing around. We've seen this from a few teams where they get up quite a few rounds and they start maybe relaxing, they start messing around a little, and that's when you start just losing. You start hemorrhaging points, you start hemorrhaging kills. You need to keep up the pressure, finish this out, and get it off. 7-5 first map, 7-4-7 second map. If you get like a 7-0 or even a 7-4, it'll work out a lot better for your MMR, especially against the number 1 team, number 2 team. You have a lot of potential for gains and losses at this point.
Yeah, and that's something we haven't even touched on, is the greater impacts, especially in the Masters division here. The winner of this will most undoubtedly continue to be or become the number 1 team in the Breachers VRML. And we'll see who it is in just a second. A very patient push coming from Ivy Kazakhs, the first one in the building. Uncle Ron already down. And the proximity detector sends a frag in. Not going to take and tag anybody. Kazakhs going to take a little bit of damage, but nothing major just yet. Proxy trying to zone out. 1 for LFT. Proxy with a refrag. Another frag coming out. Or another instant coming out. Apologies. Frag comes out over towards Proxy. Gets a little bit on him. And it looks like we've come to a little bit of a standstill with Ivy having to now wait in this weird lobby area as Acer looks like they're going to start to do their hunker strategy again and make sure that they are ready for this Ivy push.
3v3 for Acers. Not too bad. They're dug in on the points. They do have a flank in Doga, but he is getting pretty hardly watched. Lean around will take out Doga on the flank. It is just Jet against these 3 IVI players. Clone is in the corner, but they know where he is, so they'll know that's not a real player in the corner. and Proxy takes out Jet, giving IVI their first round on ship, perhaps the start of a comeback. However, the economy on Aesir is really good right now. They can all get rifles. They can buy rifles for their teammates if their teammates don't have rifles. Meanwhile, over on IVI, they can barely afford a full buy on most of their players other than... Actually, no, I'm wrong on that. They can get a full buy plus all of their utility because of the amount of players that survived last round. In this case, IVI is looking a little bit better than Aesir economy-wise. I'm eating my words.
Yeah, and I think the way they kind of did that, we see 4 healing syringes on Ivy, and it's because of the pickups they got. You drop the weapon, you're able to pick it up if you get a kill and the other team has a weapon, you're able to pick it up. I think that's why they have full Maruis after just winning 1 round against Aesir, who's won 4 against them so far. They were very smart in their scavenging come the end of that round. They know exactly what they're doing. I think this could very well be the start of a comeback.
And we'll hope to see it. Now, we do have a pretty quick push attempt coming in from IVI. They're on the window outside B. Meanwhile, they have hatch blown on navigation, which is an interesting one. It looks like they might be trying to push down towards secondary hatch. Outside hotline is ready on the lean peak. Jet is ready as well on the downstairs. Doga also leading. Hotline deciding to push a bit out. Proxy pushing up. Incend and Smoke combination coming up. Jet pushes back towards the point. Proxy is ready. IVI going for a bit of a blitz play. Trying to push straight in. Tech9 slowing it down with a nade as well as a incendiary. Tech9 takes up Proxy. Trying to get as many shots down range as he can as an incendiary gives up. Blocks him off from retreating. He has to push up. Kozak takes him out as well as Hotline. LFT takes out James. Jet takes out Kozak. It's just Doga pushing up and taking out Slitzo, and Aesir claiming a 5-1 lead. This is looking rough for IVI. It seems like a pretty strong map for Aesir, especially now going onto offense.
Plague, the score 5-1. You know what this could mean? We could very well see a 5-1 curse coming out from Ivy. It's a reset. We're seeing the pistol round. We've switched sides, Ivy on defense, Aesir on the offense. Obviously, Aesir only having to take 2 rounds, but Ivy could have a comeback on a map like Ship. They're familiar with it. I think they've played Aesir on it before. I'm not 100% sure, but they could very well take this. It is not over yet. It may look a little... It's very daunting. It's a very daunting task for Ivy, but still very, very doable.
It is. And we're seeing, you remember, I was confused by no different buys. We now see Uncle Ron deciding to pick up a Taurus, which on Ship, on defense, on top floor, that combination does not leave me confident for a Taurus, especially since the nerfs. You know, the Taurus, it has worse damage fall off, it has worse fire rate, it has more kickback. So if Ron can't get a perfect headshot off at a good distance, it's just going to leave him at a bit of a disadvantage. Proxy nearly taken down by that 3-stack. Hotline taking out Proxy. LFT taking out Ashton James. It's just Ron with the Taurus against 4 very low health players. He could body shot most of these players.
He gets 1. Ooh, he baits out Tech9, and he's able to finish it off. Tech9, Team Ace, everyone doing a great job on Ace. I think that means everyone got a kill, if I recall correctly. Is that Team Ace call out added by Triangle Factory. They've been doing wonders working on this game. Thank you so much to them. They support us. They've given us finalist skins for the past 3 seasons. And they update this game, obviously, our wonderful overtime feature, which I don't think we're going to see today. Obviously, Acer up 6-1 now. But Triangle Factory, we thank them so much for helping sponsor the VRML here. Back into the game, Acer gonna buy all SMGs, so they still got a little bit of eco left for next round, but I'm kind of a little shocked that they're not balling out and they're not competent yet. 6-1, so 1 more round, and they're taking the map and the match, Plague.
Yeah, Acer is trying to get this off. They need to win 1 round. Ivy has to make 1 big mistake to lose this. Meanwhile, Acer has to make, I would say, 5 or 6 big mistakes to lose this. It's got to be a rough situation, especially for the mental on IVI. They've been winning a good few matches in a row, and now they're on the cusp of losing this one. if they're not careful. It all comes down to the offense on Aesir and the defense on IVI. We're seeing a good bit of utility coming out on both sides. IVI especially setting up utility now that they know where Aesir is trying to push in on. However, we do have a bit of a roam from Doga on backstairs, which may come in handy if IVI is not careful. They are getting droned out. Kha'Zix and Proxy both inside. Hotline is getting incendiaried, so he's going to go down a little bit of health. LFT looking to support him. Kha'Zix is incendiaried as well. He's down a good bit of health. Nade goes out. Jet goes down relatively low. Another incendiary. Hotline and LFT still can't push in. However, that's giving IVI time to get some good pushes up. Doga takes out Uncle Ron on back hall. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. Doga is taken out. Kha'Zix takes out Jet. Tech9 takes out Proxy. It is a 3v3. Aesir is down a good bit of health as Aesir also goes down 2 members. Kha'Zix takes out 2. Slitzo takes out another. And IVI claims their second round of the map. It's not over for them yet, Gravix.
Not just yet. Aesir not able to get the push that they wanted there, and Ivy knew exactly where Aesir was going to come from in that last round. Eco now going to look pretty even, as in the half they've both scored 2, or no, sorry. Ivy should be up on Eco, and it looks like that is what we're going to see, as Aesir looks to go for a save here with only 1 SMG so far on the board. I'd very well see the 3 SMG buy that we've seen before Plague, but Ivy right now with their second point of the round, I think, of the half. So, we'll see what happens here.
We'll see if they can get it off. First point of the half, second point of the map. We'll see if they can get it. IVI is looking a bit better. They're just buying everything out they can, obviously, because they don't have... There's no point in saving. You know, if they do lose this round, that's it. Meanwhile, Aesir can take a step back. We see them taking up some Spectrals and a single Omen. You know, they're taking a step back, realizing, hey, we don't need to do a ton to, you know, just really get this off. LFT shooting at a clone. Unfortunately, he does get tricked by it. That's a good amount of information now that his roam is found out. LFT is waiting on the window, might try to smash it in if James is not careful. He could get caught out. James takes out Doga, who was on the roam on stairs. LFT still waiting. Actually gets walked out on by Ron, barely survives it. Ron unfortunately did not have a stim for him, so he's extremely low. Can IVI get this defense off? It's looking pretty good for them so far, but I don't want to Caster's Curse them just yet.
Hunkered down into A site. Ivy looks like they're ready for this Aesir push. Hotline firing off a couple of shots, trying to get some scraps, and LFT takes out Ashton with the SMG on the bottom. It's a 3v4 now. LFT still on the road, and Kha'Zix not looking at where Hotline is. So Hotline could try to get some shots off on a Kha'Zix, and it looks like that's what he's going to try to do through this curtain here. Jet and Hotline still over here in this little B hallway. Jet takes out one. Kha'Zix with the refrag. Hotline goes over the curtain and gets one. Proxy, the last one left alive for IVNA. Aesir, if they're able to get one more, they have full rifles now. Proxy comes in, gets LFT. It's a 1v2 now. Very still clutchable for Proxy. Grenade comes out, not going to do anything as Proxy sitting over towards B site. Wall goes down, and Proxy now caught between a rock and a hard place. Instant comes out, not going to hit the floor, so he's not getting zoned out just yet. A smoke comes over. So it looks like there's another zoning tool being used. Tech9 looks like he's trying to put the AMP down. Hotline doing a couple of hits and gets the final kill onto Proxy. Aesir, your winners of tonight's matchup and your reigning #1 team in the Breachers VRML.
Well done to these players. It was fantastic to watch, and especially fantastic to see, you know, these two teams battle it out. We don't see that very often where teams are so evenly matched. They trade rounds back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But Aesir really showing their potential on ship. They had a fantastic few rounds, and they continue their win rate on ship. Do want to take a quick moment before we sign off for the night to talk about, obviously, Triangle Factory, one of the sponsors for the league. Gravix talked about it. Nightfire talked about it. I'm going to talk about it. They've made this fantastic game for us to play. It's been fantastic to, you know, deal with it, to play the game, to spectate the game. The spectator client that they've provided us has been a godsend. It is fantastic to work with. They also have given us finalist skins, the official VRML skin in the store that you can pick up right now, and for contributing to the prize pool for VRMLCon, $5,000 up for grab for VRMLCon that you can pick up if you win. As well as, I do want to thank ProTube for sponsoring as well. Some great attachments for your guns. You do have the addition of a few other sponsors, but we do also have HyperX. They have fantastic headsets, fantastic mics, fantastic products that I think almost all of the casting team uses. I used to use HyperX. I don't any longer because mine, unfortunately, got taken by someone to use because they thought it was better than theirs. You can see, people just really enjoy them. We do have as well you, the viewer, for watching. If you weren't here watching, if you weren't here participating in the streams and helping out these teams, we wouldn't be able to keep the lights on. So thank you for coming out and watching. It has been a blast to cast for this past season, and I hope to see you in future casts. That is going to do it for us here on the VRML Network channel in IVI-NA versus Aesir. Gravix, do you have any closing thoughts before we close out the stream?
Head to VRML.com/VRMLCon, our in-person event happening this July. It's $20,000 prize pools. Try to get there in person. If not, you'll be able to watch online. You will not want to miss it. Thank you so much for tuning into the network, and stay tuned as we have a heck of a lot more season to cover and a heck of a lot more games to cover over the course of this spring and summer.
Hope you all have a great rest of your night.
VRML is brought to you by Helga, the esports manager, Triangle Factory. Thanks for watching VRML.